In the misty heart of 14th century France, Lady Emily was known for her beauty and her broken heart. When her beloved knight was promised to another, she turned in desperation to a local herbalist rumored to deal in forbidden elixirs. The woman, draped in rags and secrecy, offered her a vial of crimson liquid. "One sip," she whispered, "and his heart will beat only for you." That night, at a royal banquet, Amélie poured the potion into her lover's goblet. The knight smiled as he drank, unaware that the herbs inside, belladonna and wolfsbane, were death disguised as desire. Within moments, he collapsed, his veins turning black under candlelight. Amélie screamed, but the truth burned through the court like wildfire. She was accused of witchcraft and sentenced to the stake. As flames rose around her, she cried out that it was love, not magic, that doomed them both. The wind carried her final words, a warning that in medieval times, love potions could heal the heart or burn it to ashes. In medieval Venice, apothecaries sold bottled dreams, shimmering liquids said to spark eternal devotion. But behind their sweet scent lay secrets steeped in venom. One such potion was crafted by Matteo, an ambitious young alchemist who promised noble women the power to bind men's hearts. His formula used nightshade, opium, and powdered pearl, a blend both intoxicating and fatal. When Lady Caterina sought his help to win a duke's affection, Matteo prepared his deadliest brew yet. She slipped it into the duke's wine, and within hours his lips turned pale, his heart slowing like a dying drum. Panic spread through the palace. The duke's physicians found traces of strange herbs too exotic for innocence. Caterina was dragged through the streets, her cries echoing off stone walls. Matteo fled, his name cursed in every apothecary's hole. Yet legends say he continued his experiments in the shadows, perfecting a potion so deadly that even a drop could end a kingdom. Love, it seemed, had a darker recipe than anyone dared to believe. In the frostbitten villages of medieval England, superstition ruled stronger than kings. Lovers sought charms, spells, and secret brews to bind affection. But one tale of Eleanor and Thomas became a grim warning, whispered for centuries. Eleanor, a poor seamstress, fell hopelessly in love with Thomas, a blacksmith betrothed to another. Desperate. Desperate. She visited a wandering healer who sold her a potion of devotion. The woman warned, "A single drop will win his heart, a second will steal his soul." But in her trembling hands, Eleanor poured too much. That night, Thomas drank, smiling as warmth spread through him, before his face twisted in agony. He gasped her name once, then fell lifeless into her arms. Mad with guilt, Eleanor carried his body to the healer's hut. "Bring him back," she begged. But the woman only whispered,
"You brewed your own curse."
When villagers found Eleanor days later, she too was dead, clutching an empty vial and a wilted rose. Some say their ghosts still wander the woods, forever bound by a potion meant for love, but made for death. In a time when love was arranged and hearts were sold, forbidden potions became the last refuge for desperate souls. In 12th century Prague, Lord Victor and Lady Anya were trapped in marriages of politics, not passion. Their secret affair bloomed in the shadows until Victor's jealous wife discovered them. Seeking revenge, she consulted a monk known for debuting Ediki Sheeter potions that could twist fate. He offered her 2 vials, one for loyalty, one for liberation. She poured the loyalty potion into Victor's wine and sent the liberation vial to Anya as a peace gift. Neither knew, both were poisoned. At their next meeting, Victor drank first, collapsing moments later. Anya rushed to help him, swallowing the potion she thought would save him. By dawn, both lay dead beneath the chapel's ruins. The monk vanished, his scriptures burned, his name erased from monastery records. Some claimed he served neither God nor man, but love itself, the cruelest master of all. Hidden in the corners of medieval Europe were apothecaries who promised to fix what God had denied. Love returned, passion rekindled, jealousy erased. But their potions were traps of their own making. In one chilling case from 15th century Spain, Countess Isabella used a love draught to win back her husband's wandering heart. The potion contained mandrake, foxglove, and serpent venom ingredients believed to awaken desire. Instead, they awakened death. Her husband died convulsing before sunrise, and Isabella's face was seen pale and ghostly at the window, clutching his goblet. When guards entered, she was gone, leaving only the smell of herbs and ashes. The townsfolk whispered that her spirit roamed the hills, offering young women bottles of eternal affection. Those who drank from them vanished without trace. Thus, in the medieval world, where passion met alchemy, love became the deadliest spell of all, brewed by trembling hands and broken hearts. In the candlelit chambers of 13th century Florence, Lady Beatrice longed for her husband's affection, which had long since turned cold. She sought help from an old nun,
Rumored to know the language of herbs. The nun handed her a vial of shimmering green liquid.
"A potion for love," she whispered. "But beware, if the heart resists, it becomes a poison." That night, Beatrice served her husband a goblet of spiced wine laced with the potion. For a moment, he smiled at her, as in their younger days. Then his expression twisted in agony. His skin turned pale, his breath stilled.
Beatrice screamed, but no prayer could reverse what had been done.
In despair, she drank the rest of the potion herself, hoping to follow him. The next morning, servants found them both lying still, hands clasped as though in forgiveness. The church called it sin. The villagers called it love. And to this day, the chapel where they were buried is known as the Lover's Tomb, where flowers still wilt before dawn, as if poisoned by memory itself. In a shadowed laboratory beneath the cobblestones of Paris, an alchemist named Jahard experimented with forbidden ingredients, crushed rubies, bat's blood, and the venom of serpents. He called his creation Amorescence, a potion so potent it could make anyone fall in love within an hour. But Gerard's assistant, Lucienne, secretly desired the same woman as his master, the noble Lady Clarice. In a fit of jealousy, Lucienne swapped one ingredient with another. Powdered hemlock instead of rose oil. When Gerard presented the potion to Clarice, she sipped it with trembling lips. Her eyes filled with light, then darkened forever. She fell lifeless at his feet. Her heart stopped mid-beat. Lucienne's laughter echoed through the chamber until Gerard realized the horror. He forced his betrayer to drink the same potion, sealing their fates together. The next morning, both men were found dead beside Clarice, their faces frozen in expressions of eternal grief, victims of their own creation. To this day, the formula for amorescence remains lost, buried in blood and betrayal. In the monasteries of medieval Germany, monks secretly studied potions not for medicine, but for manipulation. They called them elixirs of affection, holy brews to purify emotions.
But one young monk, Brother Elias, turned this pious craft into a deadly sin.
He fell in love with a visiting noblewoman, Lady Roslyn, whose beauty haunted his prayers. To win her heart, Elias brewed a potion of honey, mint, and powdered nightshade. He mixed it with holy water, believing God would bless his love. But when Rosalind drank it, her pulse slowed, her body convulsed, and she collapsed before the altar. Horrified, Elias tried to revive her, but it was too late. The abbot found them, the dead lady in his arms, the vial rolling from his shaking hands. Elias was condemned for heresy. On the day of his execution, he whispered, "Love and poison, 2 drops from the same cup." Some say that on stormy nights, the monastery bells still ring by themselves, calling for forgiveness that never came. In a forgotten castle deep within the Carpathian forests, Sir Armand and Lady Alara swore their hearts belonged to one another forever. But forever was not enough. A wandering mystic offered them a potion said to make love eternal, even beyond death. They drank it together under the moon, hands intertwined. But instead of warmth, an icy pain spread through their veins. Their hearts slowed, breaths fading. The potion was not one of love, but of slow, creeping poison. When servants found them at dawn, they were seated at the table, faces peaceful, eyes open, gazing into eternity. Their bodies never decayed, preserved as if frozen in time. Locals claimed the potion bound their souls together, neither alive nor dead. Centuries later, travelers still find the ruins of that castle. On quiet nights, two figures appear in the moonlight, still holding hands, still whispering vows that defied both love and life. Throughout medieval Europe, love was often a gamble, and potions were the dice. In noble courts and peasant huts alike, people sought the magic of control to win affection, erase rejection, or spark forgotten passion, but many such mixtures contained deadly elements. Lead, mercury, and belladonna. Records tell of Count Roland, who gave his mistress a potion to make her love eternal.
Within hours,
She fell into a fevered sleep and never woke. The Count's grief drove him to madness. He drank the same brew, believing it would reunite them in the afterlife. Instead, he too perished, his body found clutching the very vial that killed her. Chroniclers later wrote, "He sought love's eternity and found death's embrace." The Count's estate remains abandoned, and locals swear the air still smells faintly of rose and iron. The scent of love turned to poison. In the late 14th century, within the labyrinthine streets of Prague, there lived an alchemist named Orlin, a man obsessed not with gold, but with love. He believed emotion could be bottled, distilled, and perfected. His workshop smelled of crushed violets, honey, and iron, the ingredients of forbidden affection. When a lonely duchess came to him, pleading for her husband's passion to return, Orlin agreed to craft her a potion that would ignite his heart anew. But his formula contained mercury and monkshood, a deadly combination even he feared. The Duchess poured it into her husband's mead that night. Within minutes, his heart began to race wildly, his eyes wide with terror instead of tenderness. He died convulsing before her, and Orlin was hunted down for witchcraft. Before his capture, he burned his notes, crying out that love itself was the most dangerous element of all.
legends claim a single vial of his elixir of desire still exists, hidden beneath the catacombs of Prague, waiting for another desperate heart.
In medieval Scotland, women had few choices, except, perhaps, the power of herbs. Healers, midwives, and wise women passed recipes, whispered from mother to daughter, claiming they could spark love or end loneliness. But those brews came with a curse. Marjorie, a blacksmith's wife, was desperate to win back her husband's fading affection. She mixed crushed mandrake root with honey and rose petals, the ingredients of a rumored devotion draught. Yet the recipe was incomplete. She forgot the final herb, one that neutralized the poison. That night, her husband drank the potion and died before dawn, blood running from his lips. When villagers found out, they dragged Marjorie to the square, calling her a witch. She swore she'd only tried to bring love back, but her words were drowned by the crowd's fury. Her name was lost to history, but the tale endured a reminder that in the Middle Ages, even love required a death to prove its strength. In the dungeons of an old abbey in France, monks once imprisoned those accused of using love sorcery. Among them was Elise, a young noblewoman who confessed to creating a charm to win her lover's heart. Her confession, however, told a darker truth. Her lover, a knight named Alaric, had grown distant. So Elise sought a potion from a hedge, which a bitter brew meant to bind their souls forever. When Alaric drank it, he became obsessed, violent, and consumed by jealous rage. He murdered 3 men who so much as looked at her. In horror, Elise tried to undo what she had done, but it was too late. Alaric turned on her next, screaming that no man, not even God, could have her. When guards broke in, both were dead, their hands intertwined, bloodied but unbroken. Monks sealed the story in the abbey's archives, marking it a lesson in forbidden love. But centuries later, when the ruins were unearthed, 2 skeletons were found, still locked in an embrace. Not all potions were made by witches, some were crafted by kings. In 11th century Hungary, King Arpad sought a way to keep his queen faithful while he marched to war. His royal alchemist devised a potion that would preserve her love in his absence. The queen, unaware of its nature, drank it dutifully each morning. Weeks passed before the potion's secret began to reveal itself, her body weakening, her hair turning white, her lips losing color. The alchemist had used aconite, slow-acting poison, believing that only in death could love remain eternal. When the king returned, he found her body cold, her eyes open in eternal devotion. In grief, he executed the alchemist and ordered the formula destroyed. Yet, legend says, one bottle survived, passed from court to court as a weapon disguised as affection. And so, a king's insecurity became the curse of generations, a tale that proved love cannot be owned, only lost. Beneath the stone towers of medieval Germany, a young servant named Greta fell in love with her master's son, Lord Wilhelm. Knowing such love could never be, she sought help from a traveling herbalist. The woman handed her a vial of crimson potion and said, "Give him 1 drop for love, but never 2. Greta obeyed, but in her nervousness, poured the entire bottle into his wine. That night, Wilhelm confessed his love for her moments before collapsing. His body convulsed violently, his heart bursting from within. Greta screamed, but her cries echoed only through the cold halls. When guards found her, she was sitting beside him, whispering prayers and clutching the empty vial. They were buried together under an unmarked stone, their secret sealed by silence. Even centuries later, travelers near that village swear to hear Greta's voice in the night, repeating the same words. Just 1 drop. In the lonely woods of 12th century Wales lived a woman they called the Red Witch. Her name was a healer who knew both medicine and magic. When Lady Ira came to her, heartbroken over a knight who refused her, Branwen brewed something she called the wine of binding. She mixed crushed yew leaves, red berries, and a drop of her own blood, whispering ancient words of love's eternal flame. "Give him 1 sip," she warned, "and he will be yours forever." Ira returned home and poured the potion into the knight's goblet. At first, his gaze softened, then his face twisted in agony. He fell to the floor, gasping her name, before death took him. Desperate, Ira fled to Branwen, demanding an antidote. But the witch only sighed. "I told you forever." The next day, Ira's body was found beside the knight's, her lips blue from poison. Villagers claimed Branwen vanished into the forest, her hut burning in the night. And when the wind howls across the Welsh hills, it carries a faint whisper. Forever means death. In the royal court of Castile, beauty was both power and peril. Lady Sophia, famed for her golden hair, sought to win the favor of Prince Rodrigo, who had eyes only for another. She turned to a Moorish alchemist who offered her a love elixir golden as the sun, but deadly as its fire. The potion contained saffron, amber, and the essence of oleander. The alchemist warned, "It binds the heart, but burns the blood." Sophia ignored him, consumed by envy. At the next royal feast, she poured a few drops into the prince's wine. His laughter soon turned to coughing. His skin flushed red as if aflame. Within minutes, he was dead. Panic spread through the hall. Sophia tried to flee, but was caught. Her hands stained with gold dust from the potion. She was sentenced to death by fire. Her last words, "He loved me for a moment." And as the flames consumed her, courtiers whispered that love's truest color was not red, but gold turned to ash. In a fog-covered village of northern England, 2 young lovers, Agnes and Rohan, dreamed of escaping their cruel lord. But before they could flee, Rohan was chosen to wed another. Desperate, Agnes sought help from an old crone who lived by the river. The woman gave her a vial filled with dark blue liquid. "1 drop, and his heart will belong to you," she said. "But if fate resists, it will take his life." That night, at the wedding feast, Agnes slipped the potion into Rowan's cup. He drank, smiled faintly, and then fell, eyes wide in terror. Blood streamed from his nose, his heart stopped. Agnes screamed and ran into the forest, clutching the empty vial. The next morning, her body was found in the river, her hand still gripping the corked bottle. Villagers say the river glows blue under moonlight, a warning that even the purest love, when poisoned by desperation, can drown both souls. In the dark laboratories of medieval Paris, alchemists believed every emotion had an element. Love, they said, was fire, and like all fire, it could burn. Master Arceline, an ambitious scholar, believed he could create a potion that would ignite affection without consequence. He combined sulfur for passion, gold for purity, and quicksilver for devotion. But the reaction was unstable, bubbling, hissing, and glowing like molten sun. When he tested it on a servant girl who adored him, she smiled dreamily, then began to tremble. Her veins turned silver, her heart stopped, and she fell lifeless before him.
Racked with guilt, Arcelin drank the potion himself, his scream echoing through the catacombs.
Both bodies were found days later, their skin gleaming faintly metallic, as if gilded by their own creation. The king banned all love elixirs thereafter, declaring, "Man cannot mix what only God may bind." But some say Arcelin's formula survived, hidden in secret manuscripts, waiting for another fool in love. In the old city of Canterbury, a priest uncovered a scandal that would haunt the church for centuries. A young novice, Sister Clara, had fallen in love with a visiting nobleman. Their secret meetings beneath the chapel's crypt were whispered about, until tragedy struck. Clara brewed a potion using herbs from the convent's garden, foxglove, sage, and valerian, believing it would keep him faithful. She slipped it into his cup of wine during their final meeting.
Moments later, his breathing stopped.
In horror, Clara tried to revive him, but was caught by another nun. Accused of witchcraft, she confessed everything, crying, "I only wanted love." She was buried in an unmarked grave within the abbey walls, but the nobleman's ghost was said to appear 4 years after standing over her resting place, weeping blood. The church sealed the crypt forever, warning that love mixed with poison was the devil's craft, and no heart could survive it. In the shadow of a crumbling castle in Brittany, two lovers met in secret, Elise, the chambermaid, and Sir Henry, her noble master. Their love was forbidden, their world divided by blood and title. When Henry's betrothal to a wealthy duchess was announced, Elise turned to a fortune-teller who promised her hope in a bottle. The old woman brewed a shimmering red potion, thick with wine and crushed berries. "One sip," she said, "and his heart will be yours." But Elise, desperate, poured too much into Henry's drink during their final meeting. He kissed her hand, smiling, then gasped, his body shaking violently. Blood dripped from his lips before he fell lifeless beside her. Panicked and broken, Elise drank the remaining potion, choosing death over a world without him. The next morning, their bodies were found entwined, a spilled goblet between them. The Duchess, who would have been his bride, ordered the room sealed, declaring it cursed. To this day, no one enters, and at midnight, faint whispers echo from within. Together, forever. In medieval Bohemia, superstition ruled over reason. Every heartbreak had a cure, and every cure carried a curse. A young herbalist named Livia fell deeply in love with a soldier soon to depart for war. Fearing he would never return, she crafted a potion of immortelle flowers and nightshade, meant to keep him alive in her heart forever. But her measurements were wrong, one petal too many. When she offered the potion, the soldier drank it with a smile. Hours later, his body turned cold, his eyes fixed on her as if pleading for release. Horrified, Livia tried to reverse the effects with another brew, but when she tasted it, she too fell dead beside him. Villagers found them days later, two lovers holding hands, their lips stained purple by the same poison. They were buried together, their graves marked by a single word, eternal. And every spring, the immortelle flowers still bloom upon their graves, yellow as the sun, deadly as devotion. In the royal court of Hungary, Countess Adrienne was known for her beauty and her jealousy. When her husband began favoring a young maid, Adrienne sought help from a mysterious monk skilled in the art of alchemy. He gave her a vial filled with pale pink liquid. "One sip will make him love you again," he warned, "but a second will bring death." That night, she slipped a single drop into her husband's goblet. He smiled at her lovingly, the old warmth returning, but overwhelmed by joy and greed. Adrienne poured another drop into his cup to make sure. Moments later, he collapsed, gasping for air. Adrienne screamed for help, but the monk had already vanished. Racked with guilt, she drank the remaining potion herself, whispering, "If he dies, I die too." Their servants buried them together in a marble tomb. On its lid, carved by trembling hands, were the words, "Love at first sip, death at second." In 12th century Italy, rumors spread of a woman who could make anyone fall in love, a sorceress named Callista. Nobles traveled miles to buy her famous Moon's Kiss potion. One day, a wealthy duke visited her, hoping to win the heart of a rival king's daughter. Callista warned him, "This potion works only if the heart is pure." The duke ignored her, fueled by pride. He gave the potion to the princess during a banquet. She drank, and within minutes, her body stiffened, her eyes rolled white, and she fell dead. The duke was arrested and confessed everything. The king sent soldiers to burn Callista's hut, but she was gone, leaving behind only a cauldron still warm and a note. "Love is no gift of mortals." 4 centuries after, travelers in Tuscany swore they saw a pale woman under the full moon, stirring a silver potion, whispering to those who would listen, "Love me, and you will never wake again." In the courts of France, alchemy wasn't just about gold. It was about control.
The line between love and madness was drawn in glass vials and silver spoons.
Lodo Tienu, a scholar of forbidden arts, claimed he could turn lust into loyalty. He crafted a potion from molten amber, rose oil, and powdered bone. "One drop," he boasted, "and love shall never fade." But when he tested it on a willing courtesan, she screamed as her body convulsed. Her veins glowed like molten gold before she fell still. Horrified, Etienne tried the potion himself and met the same fate. The king ordered his laboratory sealed, and his notes buried under stone. Yet centuries later, treasure hunters uncovered fragments of his writings, describing the last words he scrawled before death. "Love, like alchemy, changes all, and destroys what it touches." And so the potion that promised eternity instead delivered only silence, proving that desire was the truest poison of them all. In the frozen valleys of Norway, a tale was told of Astrid and Leaf lovers separated by war. When Leaf was sent to battle, Astrid sought the help of a mysterious seeress who lived near the fjords. The woman handed her a small glass vial filled with shimmering blue liquid. "Give him this when he returns," the seeress said. "It will make his heart yours forever." When the war ended, Leaf came home, weary but alive. Astrid, trembling with joy, mixed the potion into his ale. He drank, smiling first, then trembling. Within minutes, his body went limp, his heart stilled. Astrid's scream echoed through the mountains. Overcome with grief, she threw herself into the fjord, clutching the vial. When villagers searched, they found only the bottle floating beside the shore, half full, glowing faintly beneath the moonlight. Even now, fishermen swear they see a woman's silhouette beneath the icy water, her hair flowing like ribbons of light, waiting for her lover to wake. In 13th century Bavaria, a powerful lord, his wife, and her maid became entangled in a tragedy that would haunt the ages. Lady Katarina's husband had grown distant, entranced by the beauty of her young servant, Ilsa. In despair, Katarina turned to a village witch, who offered her a potion of faithful affection. She poured it into her husband's drink, hoping to reclaim his heart, but Ilsa saw and drank it first, thinking it wine. The maid's eyes filled with light for a moment. Then she began to cough violently, blood spilling down her gown. The lord rushed to her, holding her trembling body as she died. Realizing what she had done, Katarina drank the remainder, whispering, "If I can't have his love, I'll take it with me." By morning, both women were dead, one from jealousy, one from innocence. The lord lost his mind and vanished into the woods. Locals still call the ruins of his manor the House of Two Hearts, where whispers of regret drift through the night air. In the Dark Ages, when faith and fear ruled side by side, even kings trusted witches. King Aldred of Mercia sought eternal love from a sorceress after his young queen fell ill. She brewed him a potion of crimson hue, promising that if both drank it, Their souls would never part. The king shared the potion with his dying wife, but moments later, she convulsed and perished, her skin cold, her lips blue. Horrified, Alder drank the rest, crying that he would follow her. He died beside her throne before sunrise. The sorceress vanished, leaving behind her cauldron in a single word scratched into the stone floor. Forever. Their tomb became a legend. Lovers bound by death, their kingdom crumbling in their wake. Monks who visited the crypt centuries later claimed the air smelled of roses and rot, and that two faint heartbeats still echoed beneath the stone. In a quiet English manner, Lady Eleanor grew tired of her husband's indifference. A gypsy passing through offered her a golden flask containing the essence of eternal devotion. Eleanor hesitated, but her loneliness overpowered her caution. That evening, she poured a few drops into her husband's goblet. He laughed, kissed her hand, then froze, eyes widening in pain. Moments later, he was dead. Panicked, she drank the rest herself, crying that love should not be one-sided. When servants found them, both were seated at the table, faces peaceful, hands entwined. The golden flask was never recovered. Centuries later, a treasure hunter claimed to find it buried beneath the manor ruins. He opened it and was found dead the next morning. His heart stopped mid. The flask was gone again. And so, the legend endures. Those who seek eternal love find only eternal silence. Across medieval Europe, love was both worshipped and feared, a fire that burned brighter than reason itself. Behind castle doors and village huts, whispers told of lovers who tried to command affection through potions and paid the ultimate price. One record from 15th century Italy tells of Beatrice, who gave her betrothed a potion to ensure his loyalty. He died within hours, and she confessed before her execution that she had only wanted him to love forever. Another from Spain describes a monk who brewed a love draught for a noblewoman. Both were found dead days later, locked in an embrace that defied heaven and sin alike. And in England, court records speak of a queen's maid who poisoned an entire banquet with a potion meant for one man's heart. None survived. From palace to peasant home, these tales all end the same way, with love's promise turning to poison. In the medieval world, the heart was the most dangerous cauldron of all.